We are 3 in 1 and 1 in 3. We are body, mind, and spirit. Our quest as evolutionary beings is to master each of these 3 aspects of our being so that we can evolve physically, mentally, and spiritually. We can harmonize these 3 aspects of our being by increasing our awareness of how and why they are connected. Mastering and harmonizing our body, mind, and spirit is the key to achieving total well-being. You will lighten up by purifying your body, liberating your mind, and unleashing your creative spirit. As you master and harmonize your body, mind, and spirit, you will unleash your highest potential in every aspect of your life. You will start living your best life as your highest self. Are you ready to lighten up?
Voice America TV proudly presents Lighten Up, featuring your host, Suzanne Ross, inspirational author, motivational speaker, and wellness expert.
Hello and welcome to Lighten Up. I am so honored to be here in the presence of Sumaya O'Grady. Sumaya is a divine messenger, and she has been guided to create a program to support divine messengers. Thank you so much for being here today, Sumaya.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'd like to start just by talking about how you were guided to step onto the spiritual path and support divine messengers.
Well, starting on the spiritual path was about when I was 20 years old, so it's been a long progression. The divine messenger piece didn't drop in until really more recently in my life, because it took me a while to understand that that's what I was and that's who the people were who I was most drawn to support. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a longer transition of just figuring it all out and letting spirit guide me and getting out of my own way.
Right. So 20 years ago is when you really kind of recognized that you wanted to explore spirituality on a deeper level?
Well, I was 20, so that would have been 40 years ago.
Okay. You're so radiant and youthful.
I earned all these white hairs.
Oh, okay. So tell me about that. What happened 40 years ago that inspired you?
Really, I can't remember a time when my life wasn't about spirituality. Even as a child, I was so deeply drawn to the spiritual life. I wanted to know everything. It was just how I was made. You know, sometimes when you look back on your life and you can see the pattern, but when you're living it, it is hard to see the pattern. And I realized that I have been created, divinely designed to be the spiritual teacher and practitioner that I am in order to do the work that I'm doing now. It finally dawned on me that that has been the whole purpose of everything that led up to who I am now. It was a divine design. I couldn't have done it any other way.
I really like that, divine design. And right, we really are all divinely designed, but it's recognizing it truly and bringing it forth.
Yeah, it's taken me a long time. And also, it just took me a while to realize what my talents and gifts were, because they're so obvious when you have to other people. But for me, it just felt like, well, it's just this thing I do. So I didn't quite understand what unique gifts I had. And as I've been stepping into those, the older I get, and getting stronger and braver about that, I know that that's what they are. And finally, I got a really powerful revelation during a meditation. And it was like being hit by a tsunami, Suzanne.
Like a wave, a powerful wave
really,
came over you.
Like, boom, and the voice was, "It is time. It is past time. You need to step out and do this work. The work that I'd been holding on to, but not really ready to step out with, for my own foolish reasons, you know. So, from that point on, I thought, okay, right, I'm not getting any younger.
It's time to...
So it's really time to do this. So I have been, and I haven't been wasting any time. You know, I've created my work now, and I had a very powerful blessing from my spiritual teacher about the work that I am ready to step out and do at this point in my life. And it's really been the accumulation of everything that I know and do and have.
Isn't that the truth? And it's so wonderful to become a mature adult,
Yes.
to where everything that's ever happened in your life up to this point, you know, culminates to create a career path, or a spiritual path, you know, a spiritual career path, right? So, and then just recognizing that and having the courage to really go for it. When I first connected with Sumaya, she was telling me some remarkable stories of her spiritual journey, and one of them included going to the Himalayan mountains. Tell me about that.
Okay. I had decided to explore Tibetan Buddhism. It was a path I felt very drawn to, and I learned that in the Dalai Lama's compound in northern India, in the foothills of the Himalayas, there was a school for Westerners. And I thought, oh, this is so perfect. And so some friends and I decided to meet there, and they got there before I did, and so I got off the bus in India in the Dharamsala area, and people pointed to the path and they said, it's just up the mountain there. Well, it's up the mountain if you're a mountain goat.
Right. It's just up there.
Yeah, just up
okay.
It's kind of a metaphorical journey, you know. It's just up there.
Right. I love that. I love the ascension analogy,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. I just didn't realize how actual it would be in terms of going up the mountain. I had no idea. You know, it was a real-time ascension, not just a virtual ascension.
Absolutely.
And so at some point going up the side of the mountain, I lost the path. And I had no idea where I was. But I knew that the area of Dharamsala was on 3 tiers going up the mountain, and that the Dalai Lama's area was on the top tier. So I thought, well, I'll just start climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else could I do? So I...
Were you with a group or by yourself?
By myself.
Oh my goodness.
Totally by myself.
What courage, Sumaya.
It was just really, I had no idea how hard this was going to be. So, you know, when you're moving forward, that's all you can do is just move forward sometimes. So I was wearing a heavy backpack, and at least I had the right shoes on. And I started climbing up the side of the mountain, and I was hanging on to vines and finding stones for my feet, you know. It seemed very vertical at certain points.
Yeah.
And I thought, I sure hope this is going to lead somewhere. So at some point, just when I was thinking, oh, what have I done? You know,
Exactly. And you're looking down, right?
Exactly. I don't think I want to go that direction.
Oh my goodness.
This elderly monk appeared, and he was from way below me, but he was just climbing really fast. He was probably 90, just skin stretched over bones, wearing monk's robes. And he was just going along. And I said, Dalai Lama? And he goes, yes, Dalai Lama. You know?
Oh my goodness.
So I just followed him. He was my guide.
That sounds like an etheric being that
really
popped into your vision and was sent to you to help you get to the top.
I've often wondered, was he real?
Just appear out of
Was he
nowhere,
real?
and he's 90 years old, you know, climbing up the side of the
I
mountain.
know. It was effortless to him. I've never seen anything like it. He scampered up as if he was just walking on a sidewalk.
Yeah. I love that story. And then I understand when you got to the top, it was like, oh, and you were looking down on Dharamsala and the whole compound, Dalai Lama's compound, and all the ordained monks, and yeah, that's a beautiful story.
It was like a scene from Shangri-La. You know, the movie Lost Horizons.
Yes.
You know, I came up over the lip of the mountain and I stood there, and the morning mist was just, you know, softly over everything. And I saw a huge prayer wheel on one side that was turning. Prayer flags going everywhere. You look, there were prayer flags flying. And all the monks were walking up and down the mountain path with their beads, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And I knew I was home.
Oh, that is so incredibly beautiful. I can feel it.
It was one of the most powerful feelings of homecoming I've ever had.
Oh, it's amazing.
It was home. So I stayed there for many months and studied with the lamas there. Got to have a small audience with the Dalai Lama. Who's
really
beautiful. He's the embodiment of generosity. He's an amazing, amazing being. Even though I'm not on that path at this point in my life, I have a deep spot in my heart for the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan people. So it was I felt quite privileged.
That is a remarkable, life-changing experience, no doubt.
Yeah, it was.
And then you talked about your pilgrimage to Mecca.
Yes.
Tell me how you were able to do that.
You never know where Spirit's going to guide you. Sometimes, you know.
Steps on the path.
Yes,
right?
steps on the path. Because the last thing on my list, in fact, it wasn't even on my list, was to walk the path of Islam. And I met a Sufi teacher, and the Sufi tradition really originated with Islam. And I found out, by being a Sufi, I'm actually a Muslim. And that was quite shocking to find that out. And I ultimately ended up embracing Islam. And what most people don't realize is the stunning beauty of the tradition. It's actually, there's such a deep light that shines out from the teachings of Islam. It's not at all what people think when they read it in the news. Those things have nothing to do.
Extremists only.
Yeah, you know, every religion has had extremists and they don't represent the religion. So one of the reasons, I guess you could say, one of the requirements is that if you're able to make the once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage to Mecca, it's called Hajj. Hajj. It's a pilgrimage. So I did. I went.
Isn't that incredible to have the courage to do that and to step on a whole new path? When we come back, we're going to hear all about her pilgrimage to Mecca. So don't miss that. Stay tuned.
I'm Sumaya O'Grady, Soul Alchemist. And I love working with speakers and leaders who have a calling that comes from deep within. They're divine messengers. My programs are based on 30 years of experience as a spiritual teacher and healer, and they support and nourish those three essential pillars of divine protection, divine strength and power, and divine abundance. To get my free gift, the Divine Meditation Kit, go to my website, souldeepconfidence.com. Thank you.
Welcome back. I am here with Sumaya O'Grady, and she was just telling us about her remarkable pilgrimage to Mecca.
Yes.
And it started out with you exploring Sufism.
Yes, that's how it started. And then I just fell deeply in love with a Sufi teacher from Jerusalem. And, you know, Jerusalem is one of the big hot spots of the world. And they're so lucky to have him there because he really ministers to the poor and the refugees, the Israelis, the Palestinians, everyone. He's quite an amazing being. And then we get him once a year here in the United States. And so I fell in love with this amazing being, and it was through him that I began to learn the teachings of divine love. And that's really the inner teachings of Islam that I think has been largely lost in modern day Islam, is those teachings, the deep inner work, the deep inner experience of divine love. It's really a religion of connecting to the divine.
That's so beautiful.
And so that's what I got from my teacher, and as I got deeper and deeper into the teachings of Islam, I realized, well, it's time. It's time to make Hajj. I had a divine invitation dropped in my heart. And every time someone would speak about, oh, I've been on Hajj, I would find myself bursting into tears.
Oh my goodness.
Because I wanted to go. Once the invitation is dropped into your heart, then you have to go. You know, you have
A calling.
Yeah, it's a
really
calling.
a calling, and it almost feels like you're
It's a calling.
magnetically drawn to
Exactly.
that, you know.
Exactly.
And you just speak so beautifully. A divine invitation dropped into my heart.
Yes.
Bless
That's what
you.
happened. We went to Medina first, which is the place where the Prophet Muhammad spent most of his life. And I had no idea of the impact of Medina would have on me, because the spiritual fragrance of the Prophet pervaded the entire city. And all I wanted to do was, it was like at a soul level, being spoon-fed honey.
Oh my goodness. That's so incredibly divine.
I actually, if I let myself think too much about it, I would end up weeping here on the camera, because it was such a deep experience being there.
Pure divine love, the
Yes.
essence, and I like how you use the word, the fragrance
Yes.
of the Prophet.
The fragrance was so powerful. We all noticed it. I just spent all my time in the mosque, which was the most extraordinary place I've ever been. And then it was time to leave for Mecca, which was a whole other experience. To fully engage, it's like stepping into a powerful rushing river and just surrendering to the current, because there's no other way to make Hajj. So that's what I did.
And so when you talk about the current, it's almost like the throngs of people,
Yes.
but it's just energy.
It's energy.
And they're all being called to this, you know, divine location. So tell me a little bit of the background of Mecca and the building at the center of the pilgrimage.
The Kaaba is one of those points on the earth energetically that if you think of it as a pole that goes all the way up into the heavens, the angels are circumambulating that pole at the heavenly realms. And down on earth, the Kaaba is the manifestation of that pole. And it's there's a whole lot of spiritual sacred geometry about the location of Mecca and the golden mean and how all the buildings are oriented toward it. So that's a whole other story.
Right.
But, you know,
But that's another whole layer of intrigue.
Yes. Right. And it's a cube. It's a perfect cube. And I had no idea what it would be like. I have seen pictures of the Kaaba for, decades. It's a well-known site.
Right.
But when I walked into the masjid where the Kaaba was enclosed, all thoughts left my mind. It was a giant magnet that pulled on my heart so strongly, and I was really unprepared for how strong it would be. Are you ready to let your hearts be radiant hearts to expand all the way out to the planet? Are you ready? Okay. Great. All right. So let's just take a moment and go inside. Close your eyes. And with every out-breath, just relax. Any tension that you feel will just drain away with your out-breath. But especially relax that place between your eyebrows. And as you look inside your heart or feel into it, you will see a flame. It's a flame of love.
And if you're kinesthetic instead of visual, you will feel it. And with every breath, feel the flame growing as it expands and it fills your heart, because love wants to go out. And let it expand all the way out and fill your entire body. It expands up into your head, down your arms, and down your front and back, and all the way down your legs and hips. You are now filled with the flame of love. And now, let it expand all the way out into the room. Let it just fill the room as it touches the people you're sitting next to, the ones who are sitting behind you. Everyone gets the warmth of the flame of your love. And now the room is filled with everyone's love. As you see, as you are sending your love out, everyone else is sending their love out, so you're receiving their love. So just open for that, because your heart already knows how to open and receive. And to send all at the same time, because it's designed to do exactly that. So just bask in the love that's coming in and sending out. And if you feel adventurous, let the love go all the way outside, into the street, into the city of Berkeley, into the state of California, and all the way out to the planet.
Welcome back. I am here with Sumaya O'Grady, and her website is called Soul Deep Confidence. Can you explain the meaning of that name and how you came to that?
It just came to me that confidence is something that really arises from very, very deep within. It's not this outer thing where you have to pump yourself up, to get through something or to give a talk or whatever, but that actually confidence comes from the soul. And it's the light of the soul that shines through you, where you really deeply are connected to who you are, what your message is, and why you're here. And when you have that, that's true confidence.
There's a knowing about who you are.
Yeah.
And then it's also the receiving of the spiritual guidance. So there's not the anxiety about, what am I going to say? Am I good enough?
Right.
It's like, well, it's just going to flow through me because I know that I'll receive it, right? So that right there gives you the confidence.
Yes.
Right, so it's about opening the spirit.
Yes, opening to spirit and letting who you are shine through. And when that happens, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to rehearse. You don't have to practice. Preparation is nice, but at a certain point, it can be let go of.
Yes, absolutely, because that also builds your confidence and gives you some key points that you want to touch on. So it feels to me also like faith.
It is all about faith.
Right? Just keep the faith, and that gives you the confidence that the guidance will come through.
Yes, that's exactly right. I have faith etched on one of the windows of my car.
Aww, I love that. And then so you had this tsunami revelation that you were meant to help divine messengers deliver their message.
Yes.
And you talk about strength, abundance, and protection?
Yes. It became clear to me as I interviewed a lot of coaches and people who have a big following about the pressures that they were under. When you become highly visible and more well known, your whole world really changes. And I've talked to a number of these people, and I'm doing a whole series of interviews with them. But it became clear that there are three main core things that they felt they needed with in terms of making a divine connection. And so that is divine protection, divine abundance, and divine strength and power.
Okay.
Those are the three essential pillars that you need to be nourished by and really supported by when you're out there on the front lines as a divine messenger. It's not an easy job, but it's the best job around.
I couldn't agree more. And it isn't an easy job because it's not very well accepted. It's not your standard norm of a 9-to-5 job,
No.
right? So to step off that path and, tread a new one, takes courage, strength.
Yes.
Right? Protection, absolutely. Because the ego is very threatened when you step on a spiritual path.
Yes.
Because you're diminishing the ego, essentially. And then abundance, of course, you need to have abundance to support your path. And we all need to work on feeling worthy enough to let that abundance flow.
Yes.
And then there's sometimes this thing about money and spirituality, and but we all, regardless of our path, have to work on our issues with abundance and worth. And
It's a
all
very
that.
tricky area for spiritual practitioners. And having a spiritually oriented business, there are a lot of pitfalls there. And people criticize you for making money with spirituality, and there are all these crazy things that we have to contend with. And divine abundance is, in addition to money, it's also an abundance of support and love and
Health, yeah.
all those things, And abundance is that there isn't a limitation. We can get sort of fooled into thinking that there's a limitation, but there really isn't. I have the Divine Messenger series, which are those three healings, the whole package for divine protection, divine abundance, and divine strength and power. That's available as a package, and very soon my next package will be available, which will include more healings and several courses about connecting more deeply with divine love, how to clear away the obstacles that are related to opening more deeply to divine love, and also a recorded class on divine forgiveness.
Oh, wonderful.
The people who've tested them out from many different traditions have found they couldn't believe the impact that they had.
I read some of your testimonials, and people really speak from their heart about
Yes.
the transformational power of her programs and the 99 names being chanted. And well, you yourself are a divine messenger, my dear friend. I'm so blessed to have met you and to have had this opportunity for all of you to hear her beautiful message. And you just do. You speak so beautifully. And just to be with you, I can just feel your radiance. And even when you just meet her on her website, you'll see and really feel the power of her programs. Thank you so very much, my dear friend.
Thank you, Suzanne, so much. You are a divine messenger too, so it's so great to connect with you. I have loved our talks. Yes.
Thank you so much. And thanks for joining us for another episode of Lighten Up. This program has been a community service presented by the Awakening Center, a non-profit organization for those seeking a higher way of living and being.